To start now. And as people come, they'll come. Welcome one, welcome all to Planet Poetry 28 in January. This one event, which is a little bit unique to the Zoom world, because we all share our poetry on screen so we can see what we're all writing and we can hear and see the poet perform. It gives you an extra type of engagement for poetry that's not seen that often in Zoom readings. And we also record them and put them on, on YouTube, so you can go back and review these wonderful poems and catch so much of their nuances that we miss when we read aloud, of course, especially in this particular, type of venue where we're all in these Hollywood squares and two-dimensional and eye contact and all the rest of that stuff. So I think for us poets, I think it's a gift to be able to see some of each other's poetry. So I'm Mark Fishbein. I'm the host. I'm part of the Global Network. Proud to say that we've just put together an anthology of 16 poets that are members of our group. And I'll put something in the chat later on or send you something if you care to pick up a copy. Some great poetry in there. I'm one of the editors. And we do intend to continue publishing extensively and to publish people like us, people like yourselves with different themes and different collections as we go on, and be a service to the community of poetry. And myself, I have several books of poetry out. My most recent one is Reflections in the Time of Trumpius Maximus, which will be reviewed in June at the American Review, the American Book Review, and from there we'll see where it goes. Right now, I think everybody's a little trumped out, so it's not the best time to push the book, but eventually everybody will look back at this time in history and hopefully get some poetic takeaway from it. So I will begin with my set to break the ice. And I'm going to do a set about relationships between people. And we'll start with Domingo Steps Down. You may remember Placido Domingo got canceled because of some inexcusable things he was doing, and this is a response to it. Domingo steps down. Placido, oh Placido, say it is not so. You grabbed the skirt some time ago, and even was so bold to find your hand right on that bosom of a budding star. Dans les coulisses de l'opéra. No more stand-up salutes for you. A disgraceful dandy, behaving like it's 1850, doing what tenors used to do. Placido, oh Placido, whose sweet instrument filled the Metropolitan, La Scala in Berlin, accused of being a scarpia, to be stabbed in the back by a Tosca. Now say you were a bad boy. Explain you never understood. Plead that little harm was done, but piss off a coloratura who now complains of nightmares because you pinched her fleshy cheeks. You played Pinkerton to the T. Mistrugro del Remoso, Mistrugro del Remoso. Give your sacrifices to the goddess of voice to bring you back to us, Placido, oh Placido, and just sing. Don't touch. Going to a lot of open mics and hearing about a lot of breakups. This was a response to one on hearing about the breakup. Why do I say, sorry, it didn't work out, when I never met the gal or guy? Look, he was a bum, okay? He had tattoos in all the wrong places. Look, she was a bitch, okay? She took your wallet to the races. Should I say I'm sorry for your loss? Like a pet has died or a tooth gone bad? Does it matter, found and lost or lost and found? Does it matter, sunrise to sunset or dusk to dawn? Is the tide low, then high, or high, then low? I've heard enough. I'm not sorry. Sorry implies regret, which becomes a saudade, the sad nostalgia of desire. She loved me, he loved me not. Who gives a fuck? You rode the wave and landed on the shore, but oh, my battered friend, thy heart layeth shattered. What's a friend for, and what for a friend? Sorry for the breakup, again and again. After the argument, we are neither in love nor out, Complacency is fragile between old partners who spend nights in hushed bitterness, hours with vague resentments from the triteness of growing old. Seems we're destined to do just that. So old it doesn't matter who is sharper, who is more sober, who snores the louder. Occasionally we imagine the room with the silence of one of us dead, anticipating the emptiness of regrets. Now we need more sleep, more time to eat, more time to sit and be alone, while days become absorbed in years. Maybe we are wired not to live long, to cherish life which should be brief, not become overripe with an acid taste, stumbling on words without purpose, weary for the lost romance of youth. After the argument, we apologize. It was about spilt milk or forgotten chores. We let forgiveness be our sacred bed as we see each other and not look away. To a Lady Zoom poet. Kiss me with your grief. I am a nerve of self-pity. I suffer with your deceptions. My heart listens to its howling, and I cannot drown out the banging of blood spitting from its walls to a hoarse lullaby of yours. My vision is blurred compassion floating on a shadowless screen that falls to an earth unkind. Your body a fluid of sadness so far away, so in need of comforting. But you are just a face that exists in 2 dimensions. Your lover found another URL. Self-pity makes the heart swell. And I'll close with this autumn twilight. We lay staring at the night sky, connecting stars to memories. After a life of loyalties to some things and broken oaths to others. Love hides in compassion, a force that makes the orbits of gravity that holds us to the earth and binds us to our fantasies. Spent our decades of romances when sex was the morning coffee. Now we lay stargazing with the other near, close but not touching, content that loyalty has been served, chosen by fate and upheld. And thank you for listening. Good. I mean, you could unmute after we all read, and afterwards as well. I'll introduce you, and you can leave your any information in the chat where we can contact you, and therefore copy a link to anywhere you'd like us to go. Our next poet that's here is Laura Grevel, an expat living in England. Laura, originally from Texas. She's a performance poet, a blogger, and a fiction writer. She began performing in 1990s in Texas, has performed in Austria and Switzerland, in recent years often in East Midlands, the United Kingdom. Recently, she's working to make performance videos for online YouTube viewing during the pandemic. She was co-founder of Poets for Refugees, which has a 2021 collaborative video welcoming refugees, migrants, and immigrants titled Girl Walking Across Europe. She'll also be the host of a workshop we're doing in March. Laura Grevel.
Thank you very much, Mark. And I will share the document. Oh, wait, sorry. On order. Share screen. Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm going to do a bilingual piece that is English and German mixed. And I need to attribute a line, as you see at the top of the document. The line, "My neck is thinner than a hair," was part of an exhibition by the Atlas Group with Lebanese artist Walid Rad at the Mumok Museum in Vienna, 2021. And this is called Border Crossing. You can just make it a little bigger.
Thank you.
Yes, and just trying to move the people over. Well, Do you see the people that I see, or? Okay, so border crossing. Somehow I managed this before. Yes. No. The potato harvest is over. We're on the falling leaf of life. We've smoothed the earth's surface on our small, small patch. Our child has crossed the line. Our child has crossed over. Fühlst du dich schwach? Do you feel weak? My neck is thinner than a hair. Walk across the border. Lauf über meine Grenze. Überschreite deine Grenze. Geh durch. Go through this car bomb, this tomb, where blackened metal pieces schweigen. Men stand over, watch the pieces. Men stand, stare in those creases. Cross this border, this neck, kreuz den Hals, cut from body borders, car bomb as border, on board in Lebanon. Do you see their pieces? Siehst du Stücke da und dort? Siehst du Menschenstücke nah und da? Dein Blut und Lamm. Schwärzende Grenzen über die Flut, schwarze Menschen voll von Wut. Blood and lamb of black and white. Hand floats over watered land. Foot floats under back and man. Grenze einsam calling man, lonely border crossing man. Border crossers fly in sky. Border crossers crawl in sly. We cross here and there and nigh, from the east and from the south, with necks thinner than a hair, sometimes legal, sometimes hot. Steinzeitmann, gib Antwort mir, gib mir Antwort Steinzeit jetzt. My stone-aged man, give answers, dare. Carve rock from hair, carve tooth from bear. Children come and children go. Kinder kommen, Kinder gehen. Kinderlein, mein Blut und Lamm. Kinder mein, sehr klug und bunt. Nimm dein Speer, komm aus dem Leer. Steinzeitmann von nah und fern, großes Tal aus Rift und Kern. Rennt für Korn und schleicht für Beeren. Steinzeitmann in Lebanon, Steinzeitmann in Berlins Not, Steinzeitmann in Palestine. They shot the man from Poland. They shot the man from Germany. They broke my feet. They tore my tongue. On this line, they took my spine. O Steinzeitmann, paint your mind, my man of stone. Paint the new cave, Steinzeitmann. Make your sign, cross the line, draw and bind. Draw dancing lives and singing lands, bodies bound by seizing hands. Hold this neck while I walk through. The stepping stones do slip and slay, the water deep with drones and moans. Live in two tribes. Leben zwei Banden, Steinzeitmann. Gib mir Antwort, Steinzeit kann. Give me answer, tongue on hinge. Stone-aged man hunts for his kin. Sirhan hunts for Ruth. Can we ever know the truth? Run with me through land and border. Take this neck and hold your tooth. Flüstern jetzt. Bringt uns weiter. Whisper takes us through. Cross this line, mach den Plan mit Blut und Lamm. Ruhe, Ruhe, bleib im Nest. Rest yourself on rock and shelf. Nimm die Antwort, Kinder mein. Very far, cross distant times. Cross this rhyme, mein Blut und Lamm, my son. Oh, mein Sohn, bist du durstig, bist du krank? Are you thirsty? Are you sick? Carry far along this bank. Nimm deine Tarnung, nimm deine Stärke. My Stone-Age man, give answers dare. Expedite from self-deceit. Überschreite deine Grenze. Überschreite deine. Überschreite. That's it.
Wow. It's why don't we all unmute if you want to, and we can all give a round for Laura. That was mesmerizing indeed.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing use of the two languages. And yeah, the way you use the German too is beautiful.
To sustain a poem of that length and just keep us right in the, right in there all throughout. It's amazing. Just great. And the rhythms that you picked up and played around with, I don't know what else to say. I can't wait to see it again and a couple of times. There's just so much in there. And you make me want to learn German. I speak French, but not German at all. And I would love, just beautiful the way you speak it. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very
Good
much.
stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone
Good rhythms.
agrees. Yeah.
I think that it reminds me this is Holocaust Remembrance Week.
Yeah. Yes, it was indeed. Well,
Der
thank you.
Tod ist ein Meister Deutschland.
No. Well, let me introduce the next poet. Our next poet is Susana H. Case. She's authored 8 books of poetry, most recently The Damage Done, Broadstone Books, which won the 3rd Pinnacle Book Achievement Award. Several of her previous books have also been important national and global award winners and finalists. She co-edited with Margot Taft-Stever the anthology I Want to Be Loved by You, Poems on Marilyn Monroe, Milk and Cake Press. She, a retired university professor in New York City. Case is currently co-editor of Slapering Hol Press. And I will share for you, Susana. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. So I'm in New York City, and this is a poem inspired by the neighborhood I live in which when Patricia Neal, if you remember her from the movies, was a neighbor. And it's called When Patsy Lou Neal Lived on East End Avenue. Patricia Neal used to eat in the French restaurant on 81st Street. We shared a taste for duck, crusty bread, walls painted with scenes of Provence, the 2 blonde sister hosts bustling about, both in chic black dresses. This was before Patricia had a stroke, got lung cancer, but after the day the earth stood still, in which she spoke to a robot, Klaatu Barada Nikto, and prevented Earth from being destroyed. By now, the world has gone to hell anyway. The restaurant is no more, torn down for a condo. Patsy Lou is no more. And that younger version of me, Patricia married a cruel man she didn't love and left him. I married a cruel man I did love and left him. So much is no more. Bits of life left on the cutting room floor. Butter pats at La Mode were shaped like sheep. So the last 2 are from this book, my last book, The Damage Done, Broadstone Books, and it's set in the late 60s, early 70s, and this is a poem about Vietnam, and it's called A Free Fire Zone, means anything that moves can be shot. It's kind of ironic because on Tuesday I'm flying to Hanoi, and flying to Hanoi has such a different meaning now than it did back then. Anyway, talking again about how green everything was, the fire and smoke, the mountains and silence, the jungle, which he never gets past when he tries to tell the story of how anything that moves is shot. And he was shot, and here he is now in their parents' home, instead of a rat's ass chronic care veterans facility, has been like this for years, body broken, shrapnel still in his head, trying to talk to his older brother, the detective, who's wondering if the kid wants to die because someone now will have to do it for him. And all he had needed to do was stall a little bit. The war was winding down, or be some other place on some other hill, not that hill, where nothing will ever grow back, a monument to ill conception, instead of here now, crying again, some spittle on his lips. This last one also references a neighborhood in New York City, and some of you may remember the incident from that period on West 11th Street, where a townhouse was destroyed while people were making bombs in it. And this is called COINTELPRO portrait with blasts. Another young woman, former teacher, hates being rich. The revolution is here. She puts her dividends from the family corporation into the collective's common fund. The Black Panthers laugh at them, summertime soldiers. Townhouse basement on West 11th Street, house where the poet James Merrill was a toddler, house of the parents on vacation in St. Kitts of one of the other bombers. The bomb goes off too soon, meant for that evening, an army-based dance for non-commissioned officers and their dates at Fort Dix. They find pieces of bodies shot through with roofing nails, the nails shrapnel to increase the radius of destruction, air of ash, wood, glass, hail of grit and cracked plaster. In the basement, 4 12-inch lead pipes packed with dynamite from the New England Explosives Corporation, blasting caps and cheap alarm clocks, 2 50-pound cases of dynamite, enough to destroy every townhouse on the block. A detached pinky finger's tip matches that of the former teacher on file from the days of rage. 2 male would-be bombers, dead 2, 1 crushed. All this will fail to end the war. About the obliteration, it was nothing egocentric, her father tells the press. Thank you.
Oh,
Can I say to Susan, thank you. I was in prison when Diana Oughton blew up in that townhouse. And that was the most destructive, violent act of us peaceniks protesting the Vietnam War. Unfortunately, an accident.
yeah, when I introduced David, it was one of the Baltimore Four, has a lifetime of that experience. And thank you, Susana. Strangely enough, I know the Buffalo Mode very well, that restaurant on 81st Street. I went there very often in the 70s and 80s, and I have lots of stories to tell you about it some other time, but it's interesting you bring up that restaurant. I haven't heard that name mentioned in like 50 years. That's just amazing. And I loved the poem, and I loved your second poem. I think it was a sonnet. It was really well done as well. So thank you for sharing those wonderful poems with us. And
let me add here as a personal note. I got caught up in a police sweep in September, what was it, 1969, before the Weatherfolk attacked the Chicago police.
Or the Chicago police attacked.
That was in response to the police riot of the year before, yes, and there was considerable psychological damage. We finally won the case, and the police perjured themselves in court, but they got away with it.
yeah. Well, that's wonderful poetry here tonight. Yes, please. Last comment.
It may not be directly connected, but remember, there was a developmentally delayed man. I get all these phrases are really, I guess semi-retarded, whatever. But he was drafted and sent to Vietnam. One of what was it, McNamara's idiots, they called him. And he came back. He had a job with the city. He was a competent worker. And his parents sold the house, or his parents passed away, his sister sold. Anyway, he winds up homeless, sleeping in the Little League dugout while holding down a job with the city. So I let him sleep in a car in the backyard. I couldn't invite him in the house. It wasn't my house. It was small, cluttered, and my father was alive. But I did bring him in for breakfast and washed his clothes. And once I threw out his horrible underwear and gave him brand new underwear, he said he thought they looked funny. So, but he goes to Vietnam. They send him to Vietnam. He comes back and he winds up homeless.
Yeah, that's been a common issue. We know. Yeah, I know. Terrible. I'm going to move on, if I may, to the next poet, and thank you all for sharing all your stories with us, and look forward to hearing more of them as well. Well, our next poet is Julie Benish, was born in Iowa and is a resident of Chicago. Hooray, where it's snowing with us today, as I'm also a resident of Chicago. She's a graduate of MFA program with the writers at Warren Wilson College, a recipient of the Illinois Arts Council grant. She has a PhD and an MA degrees in human and organizational systems from Fielding Graduate University. She has published her poems in numerous journals and has recently published a collection about time from Cathexis Northwest Press. And she has been doing conference and presentations on the intersections between poetry and business. Julie, I'll share your poem. I have it here. Can you see it okay?
Yes.
I can make it a little bit bigger for you if you like there. Okay.
Thank you. On the constancy of forgetting. When I wake up and nothing hurts, or something hurts in a soft way, like a shin twinge radiating muscular, reminding me I can still break and come back stronger, or even when a small discomfort comforts, dry mouth, a rumble of hunger, or a tingle of neuropathy, the civil defense sirens silent, the sad trombones and tiny violins mute as sleep. I remember how much I love when the weather forecast is wrong in either direction, and how I thought physical therapy was for the sedentary until it cured my own pain. And while there may be no food in the fridge, there's food at the store my phone will pay for with my job stress. I'm a good provider. My silverfish are living their best lives, feasting and weaving like wedding guests in a painting by Bruegel, while the cats pose decorative as Instagram billionairesses. I have a panoply of invisible subscriptions that no doubt keep the global economy afloat. Also, nothing's burning or even smells bad in my house or my fleshly abode. So much given and chosen and dreamed and unimaginable. The unlikelihood of any of us waking up ever at all, let alone here and now together in the careless flip of a blank new day, like no other, and so many others, it's true. There are fates worse than cliches.
That was very funny. Wonderful.
Carapace. In the almost spring, as the white sky tries to rain, Lana is afraid of that empty shell station by the old highway exit, like the cemetery at the end of our block. Its spirits, yet fears no living exoskeleton, ushering pests to safe new homes, compassionate cockroach concierge, whereas I murder by proxy with shrink wrap pre-shelled lobster meat to throw in a charcoal grill and devour in an act of transubstantiation. She does not yet know that Earth is a graveyard. It's all recycling for better or worse. The wages of life are shells, the first currency. Shells hide, protect, outlast their host. Fossils make the world go round. Fossils, the whole way down. That electric car billionaire plans to abandon the space station. Are we running out or moving on? Lana believes in reincarnation. Together we ponder the immortal past. Ghosts of men in uniform, named squiggle stitched above their pockets, wiping windshields clean.
Hmm.
3 a.m. Woke mid-poem, cool, clammy, dry mouth, full bladder, burritoed in bedding, thinking, constraint in art is called form, holds substance together, a working within, whereas growing up with an alcoholic is a workaround, a dream shanty, incubating a future that jumps genre, and work is a body, ingesting, pulsing, pumping, an open system, evolving, new-ish output every day, marathon, menu, spreadsheet, symphony, widget, gadget, jet, yet, yes. The universe is a vast bureaucracy with hierarchies, networks, rules transparent as contronym, whirring, it is what it is, it is what it is, and muttering me back to sleep. What happens is all that can. This is my most vocal poem ever, Girl World. Been every version of that girl. First as an urchin, I'd furtive, twirl a curl of hair and poke it in my ear, weird and impure. Nerd, hermit, jerk, working on curbing, purging her absurdist quirks. But forth they burst, making it worse. I've learned and learned and learned. It's best to spurn attention, lest I hurl, inspiring your so-called mercy murders, or incur some other similar familiar curses. So though I'm verbal, if not verbose, no verses plural I've unfurled have gone viral, or curried any favorable furor, let alone commercial fervor, and I remain and ever return alert in that awkward spiral of words heard and unheard. So I endure your urgent burdens as that hurtling girl, ardent, learned, undeterred by those burnished purgatories of your making, waiting, determined, unable to hurry victory for the turn, the future fertile, febrile curdle I need to earn to occur first before the burn and earn. Thank you.
Wanted to see that line. Passionate cockroach concierge. I just wanted to catch that one. There's such a wonderful wit you have with words and using them that way. It's great. Thank you. I think everybody agrees. Yeah.
Thank you.
A round of applause for you as well. And all the poems here today. What an amazing opportunity for all these great poets today. Is Ron Bremer here? I don't see you coming in under a different name, perhaps. If not,
I'm here.
Oh, there. I'm so sorry, Ron, in the corner there. I'm sorry, I couldn't match you. Good. Let me put your poem on. Let me put your poems up. Take me a moment and introduce you. Got you. There you are.
Hi, Mark.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your patience. So Ron Brenner has written of incense, peppermints, and the color of time since 1970s in such venues as International Poetry Review, Jerry Jazz Musician, Paterson Literary Review, and in 1979's Passaic Review, alongside Allen Ginsberg.
Wow.
Ron has published 8 books of poetry, including Hungry Words through Alien Buddha Press, and 13 ebooks. He has thrice won honors in the Allen Ginsberg Awards. Ron lives in his beautiful sociologist wife, son, and dog Ariel in the wonderful Northeast New Jersey, which I believe Passaic is in, which I know quite well. I'll tell you about it sometime. And I will share your screen. Can you see that okay, Ron?
Yes, fine.
A little bit bigger for you if you'd like.
This is okay.
Okay.
And if I go over, just help you. This one was written in Paterson at Blimpie's sandwich shop while I was waiting for a train. This actually happened. In Paterson at Blimpie's sit Aristotle and Descartes at a plastic table in plastic chairs, watching through the blue plate glass for their bus to Fairlawn, while outside in the slush mess stands a huddle of shiverers waiting too. And oh, shut up, says Aristotle. No, you shut up, says Descartes. They giggle frantically in appreciation of each other's wit. Meanwhile, at the back table sits Sigmund Freud, carefully tempering his coffee with cream, studying intensely the play being acted out before him, while Holden Caulfield sweeps the floor. And oh, shut up, says Aristotle. No, you shut up, says Descartes. After many shut-ups, the Fairlawn bus arrives. Aristotle and Descartes guffaw frantically, fraternally, as they charge through Blimpie's door, while Sigmund, unsmiling still, sips his weak brew, and outside the cream pours onto the bus, and inside Holden sweeps Blimpie's floor.
Is this Paterson, New Jersey?
Paterson, New Jersey,
Paterson, New Jersey.
the one and only. This is about, well, an Amy, and I think you'll know who it is. Amy 2, reconfigured Amy. Tantalizing float, tongue prancing about the nightmarish sycophancy, a boon of decay, an ambush in the quest for contrition. Amy Blue, bluer than blue, you're one gone gal, gone way too soon. Back to black, yeah, back to black forever. Oh, hell, you were the best. You were the real deal. Oh, my God, why'd you take her so soon? 27, too big for this world, too big a heart, too big a soul, too big a voice. No tattoo was big enough. Girl, you beat the needle. Girl, you beat the blow, but you couldn't break the bottle. No bottle was full enough. Be happy now, girl. Back to black, eternal rehab, and glad to be there. When we met, the suddenness of your smile caught me in its web of surprise as the past hurtled into a future we could not know nor even guess on a day fraught with both possibilities and impossibilities, as if any of them mattered. Perhaps some of them did. Okay, I write a lot of absurdist poems, and this is an absurdist poem, so don't take it seriously. If your heart gets too hot, place an ashtray on your head and hold the diamonds close to a rabbit. Then run with Sue to paint Egypt with a blue carrot. A bat will throw bricks at your jeans. Bud likes the flavor of a dirty telephone belonging to the sheriff in Hong Kong. A monkey that looks like a lovely vampire sits on your knee. At the end of time, why hide your property from the clayman? Your life is half your job. Are you a cop, a butcher, or a thug born of his own asphyxiation? Don't forget to give me pleasure and cruelty, but please don't shrink my body, or I'll have to castrate your life. A criminal caustically caresses an organism in the temple, but is discharged for his internal rottenness. Your strokes throb and shiver when caressed. A pig whips my body and spits. And that's based on a radio airplay list by Erwin Chusett. Okay, this was a formal poem published in the Quarter Day Review, a Scottish journal that only publishes formal poetry. Sketch me a sketch of that fabulous wretch who wanders from gutter to throne, and build me a dream of her ravenous scheme that protects her from being alone. Oh, sing me a sigh from a long-lasting high to guide as I wantonly roam. Long may I hope beyond whiskey and dope that she'll realize that I am her home.
I think we'll close on this. Thank you. Yeah, read one more.
I close on this one which is for my wife, for Francesca. In that brief and stunning moment when you turned twilight into gold, my brain froze as I peered into the face that I loved, and I realized I could not leave you now or ever. Never. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Ron. That was a whole bunch of great stuff. So you go back to the times of Allen Ginsberg. Indeed. That's wonderful.
Are you aware of Captain Beefheart, rock and roll guy?
Of course, there's some lines from a Beefheart album in that poem.
Yes, Don Van Vliet. What's his name?
And a good painter too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, that was really a wild collection you shared with us, Ron, between some absurdist stuff and some strict iambic work and all the rest of the stuff there. Really, thank you for sharing. What wonderful poets we all have tonight. It's just amazing. And the beat goes on. Welcome, Susie and Robert. I'll get to you in a moment. I have 11 of your poems, but I don't know what belongs to whom. So I'll kind of post them up and we'll figure it out, okay? But next reading is Tara Elliott. Hi, Tara. Tara's poems have appeared in many publications, including the Dow's Journey in International Poetry, An Art Stirring, the American Journal of Poetry, the founder and director of Maryland's Salisbury Poetry Week. She also serves as co-chair as the Bay to Ocean Writers Conference and president of the Eastern Shore Writers Association, which is how we met. This is a wonderful association of writers from the Maryland area. She recently received the Literary Arts Independent Artist Award from the Maryland State Arts Council. Her poem, The Fox, will appear in the next issue of Gargoyle in tribute to her former professor, Lucille Clifton. Indeed. Tara, hi.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me. I've been kind of working in the background here and listening to your awesome work, guys. I'm really impressed with your poetry. It's been beautiful to listen to. And Mark, that first piece you read just took me away. So thank you. And thanks for having me. I forgot that I'm going to share. So just a little bit about myself. I am battling what's called MACTEL 2. And I have no central vision in my left eye. So you're going to see this very big, so you know. So here is, you should be able to see my screen at this point. Everybody good on that front? Okay.
Yes.
The first poem is called DNA, and it's for my dad. I hold your head in my hands, watch the light ebb from your eyes. I breathe for you, my breath, your breath. I can taste the cancer, Daddy, but I can't bring you back. The spiral is little more than a curve outward from a central point. Night, and the pure presses patterns into our backs. Here, memory lingers thick among creosote, diesel fumes, brackish water. Mooring lines creak as they are pulled taut and released. Spiderwebs balloon in the breeze. Above us, the Milky Way unfurls. Once more, it is your finger that trails these galaxies. Once more, it is your stories that spill from my lips. We are all drawn toward the fixed center, the hub of a spider's web, water as it cycles down a drain, the empty eye of the hurricane. This poem is called The Seam. I've been very, very interested in the way that the human brain processes memory. And this poem plays with that a little bit, but it also plays with surgeries that I had. So it's 3 different experiences of surgery, and it's called The Seam. The gathering of flesh tightly against itself, the beginning of a seam. When I was a child, I went for a walk in the woods. The mountain laurel blossoms lit up the bushes like the kitschy lights of a 1970s Christmas tree. I cut my arm open, falling off that old zip line there, the one with the red painted seat and the wooden handlebars, the one that sliced the mountains in half. The branches cut my skin to lace. After the surgeon mended my brain, there was not a single binding stitch. Threads sealed the inside from the out, and instead surgery was done through my thigh. During a rupture, blood seeps through the mind like ink across a wet page. We lived next door to a Boy Scout camp, and Gordy double dog dared me that I couldn't ride, that rickety zip line down the long and twisted steel cable to the end. After they lashed each arm to its own support, after they ratcheted the blue drape up until I thought that it was sky, I never felt the scalpel slit skin. Mountain laurel flowers drop like withered onion skin after the rush of pink fades and autumn's air settles in. They give you a local when they close the wound, and they call it that, a local, as if your wound is simply headed to a bar where it will try to stay sober enough to drive home. There were 3 stitches in my upper right thigh, where joint connects trunk to leg, body to limb, where they threaded the metal stent up into my brain, through my femoral, through my carotid, letting the flow of my own blood place the ring that stopped the seeping, the ring that married me to Survivor. The black bruising took over a month to heal. In the follow-up, in the checkup, in the angiogram, after they sliced my groin on the table, after they injected my artery with dye blacker than crude oil, after the heat of it snaked up through my brain, hot as coffee, after I watched the black siphon through the skull shadow on the monitor, head masking tape to the table so I wouldn't. Don't move. You mustn't move. I felt a flutter of blood between my thighs. I couldn't find my breath. The surgeon called my name over and over. Breathe, his voice still repeats in my sleep. Over time, some simply dissolve. Others are carefully snipped while trying not to. Please don't move. Not a single binding stitch in my skull. 7 in my left arm from when I fell. 20 when they wrenched my son out of the comma cut above my pelvic bone. 3 in my upper right thigh to stop the bleed in my brain 2 years after his birth. Pink scars fade over time and wither. Fallen laurels, the beginning of a scene.
Powerful stuff, eh?
And this is for my son. This is called June bearing, which is a type of strawberry, in case you didn't know. June bearing. One day you will understand why these plants thread the roots so deeply through these fields, how the farmer's straw prevents them from wilting in the early heat of summer. You'll notice the beauty of her blossoms as they open milk white against the leaves. Grasp how the stigma and the anther cluster to form the perfect yellow sun of every flower. Later, you'll know why wild bees hover as they flit from one stifled center to another, and in allowing each a runner until they root, realize how gingerly a mother must let go. But right now, you are 2, and concerned only with cramming berry after seeded berry into your mouth. How quickly you pluck all your eyes can see, juice dripping red to stain your chin. And this is The Fox for Lucille Clifton, and this appeared in the last Gargoyle issue. All night, I dreamed of the fox. Eyes, dime-sized glow sticks in the dark, the soft padding of gloved feet along the grass. In cloaked distance, I heard the elongated rasp of her bark. There are things in this life of which we are not yet aware. Later in daylight, when my dog lunged from under the long winds of wisteria, the black-tipped triangles of her ears cocked backwards, the fiery fur of her neck rose in alarm. And when both creatures bared teeth in a flash of spit and snarl, the fox stopped to look over her shoulder. Without hesitation, she flung herself up and over the fence, tail nothing more than a gasp of white against chain link. Who was I to know what she might be protecting? O spirit, who was I to know, if not myself? Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, thank you. And those harrowing poems that you read at the beginning concerning, I mean, we look at modern medicine with, it is tremendously advanced, obviously, to running leeches and bleeding, but I've had my own experiences as well with some cancers and all the rest. And yes, it is very brutal what our bodies are put through with modern medicine, despite all that. Maybe like in the Star Trek, Dr. McCoy was looking back at the past and going, you know, how brutal it was. And wonderful poems to your son and all that. And thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Susie and Robert, I put on the chat the poems that I have that I can present. I don't know which one is yours and which are Robert's. Are some of them both of each? And then I'll kind of scroll and just take your turns there. And I'll introduce you now. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I think there's some of both of you. So you can direct me. Susie and Susie Reynolds and Robert Cole are living in Paris right now. Susie is published in both have published in many literary magazines. Susie has done in Gargoyle, Ambit. Recently, she in She Magazine by Larry Allegri, new collection being published this year by Little Press. UK novels published Dangerous Angel and 69 prose of Kimmerer Magazine for 10 years. And Robert Cole also has published extensively all throughout, including Ambit, Gargoyle, and Van Gogh's Ear, 7 collections of poetry such as Inheritance, Mandeville Press, Mancher's Revenge, Top Hill Press, and Spool Oversteps. Books launched at Shakespeare Company, I suppose, in Paris. And welcome to Planet Poetry 28.
Thank you for inviting us.
And here are the poems. So if you want me to, I have them all here. If you want, I can do this, or we can move on to another one. I have 11 poems. Take your choice.
Oh, I'd love to read this one, please, Mark.
There you go.
Iceland's imagistic dance. Now, you see, Iceland was an imagist, but not the Western imagist type of work. He is a Russian imagist, and there's a marked difference. I hope it comes across in the poem. Iceland's imagistic dance. An incredible opportunity to play Rachmaninoff, believing in the world vision of Copernicus. The Tsarina Alexandria, a babushka doll, after Sarajevo and the Archduke's assassination, listening to Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony, a version of St. Petersburg, oh no, in Venice or St. Petersburg. I'm sorry, but I've got an eye condition. I'm partially blind.
Can I make a little loud? I'll make a little larger for you.
That's cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I start from the beginning? Because it's
Sure. Is this a good size for you, Robert?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a good size for me.
Okay.
An incredible opportunity to play Rachmaninoff, believing in the world vision of Copernicus, the Tsarina Alexandria babushka doll, after Sarajevo and the Archduke's assassination, listening to Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony in Venice or St. Petersburg, Petrograd. The snowflake window mirror the wreckage, territory deadlocked in bombardment, atomic dust particles, ultraviolet wavelengths, believing, it keeps shifting around.
Yeah, I have to scroll. I'm sorry. I'll do it as gently as
realize that,
possible.
but when it shifts, I lose track.
Sure. Okay, here we are. I'll just look at my
Right.
cursor, but I'll lead you on. Go ahead,
I've got
sir.
an eye condition.
Yeah, sure.
Leave me.
Atomic dust particles, ultraviolet wavelengths, believing in the world vision of Copernicus. I danced for the Russian ballet, a ghost ago, a phoenix rising from the dark star. For Isadora Duncan, in the tremors of a piano, a nostalgic tone recalling my childhood, the vastness of the old school parallel bars, the gymnastics of hyperspace cartwheeling. Crossing the river to the mountains of the moon, overstrung piano, star
Thanks.
shimmering bejeweled, arriving at the airport, flying out from Moscow. Svelte dancers mirror the rhapsody's crescendo, spinning akin to Sufi mystics, whirling dervishes. I danced for the Russian royalty, a ghost ago. Please forgive me for my loud rendition of this poem. This is also one of mine, I'm afraid. So
No, it's okay.
I seem to be
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
holding
just
the
read it.
show
You're not.
for us.
No, we're enjoying. Don't worry, please.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you, folks, for helping me out.
Sure.
In the woodlands of Brittany, which is where we live in the central Brittany woods, the dragonfly's flight path in the northwest sections, crisscrossing the Delian coastline from the sun, sacred oak trees line the way through the moons of Jupiter, ascending the river valley mountain track. Ptolemaic prophecy from Ephesus to Timbuktu, libraries of the ancient world destroyed at the key. Druidic phantasmagoria written in chiaroscuro on the beakers from Etruscan
Archaeological site.
exactly. I couldn't see that for some reason.
Sure.
A veil came across my mind when I thought it was Etruscans. I thought of the terrible treatment they had from the Romans. So I had this sort of flashback. Sorry. Dragonfly's flight path from Caesar Augustus's wall, crisscrossing the world from coastline to frieze. The bronze leaves are encircling Adonai, the sun. Sacred oak trees lined the way through the woods. Druidic phantasmagoria written in Sanskrit and Aramaic, crisscrossing the mountains of the Himalayan wolf. I'm a lousy reader.
That's okay. Why don't you read one more, and then I can switch on to some poems by Susie.
Maybe we get a really good reader here. She's
come on,
dramatic.
Robert.
Really.
Come on.
No apologies allowed, Robert. Don't worry.
Stop apologizing. It's boring.
Mea culpa. Apotheosis. Clepsydra measuring the Mediterranean. Ptolemy's legacy since the pyramids. Christopher Columbus miscalculated Byzantium at the time of Cleopatra, arriving in Cuba ahead of the hurricane. On Bikini Atoll, ashes from Nagasaki.
Moving up.
Guided.
Right here.
Guided by
Polaris and Aurora Borealis, discovering the Apache Reservation in the autumnal woodlands, tribute song on Cherokee Mountain, the Iroquois, Ptolemy's legacy since the Stormlight, on Bikini Atoll in the aftermath of Actium, Clepsydra measuring the Mediterranean, Ptolemy's legacy since the pyramids.
Hmm. I was going to stop the share a second just to say thank you, Robert. No reason to apologize or any such thing. Each one of your lines is like a poem. I think there was somewhere I read that good poetry is made out of any given line could become a poem, and you've accomplished that. So
Thank
we're
you. It comes from my soul. I'm driven to write these things.
well, good
And
with
but
your vocabulary and your imagery.
I have eidetic memory, but my eyes are
you're-
almost blind.
Your images and your language and your vocabulary are fabulous. So thank you very much. Really.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
So Susie, I'm going to put some poems up and you tell me which is yours, okay? And then you can just read it up. Okay, thank you. Yes?
No, it's yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's Robert's, I think, yeah. And that's
That's
Robert.
mine again. Oh, Jesus.
That's Robert's.
Here you go, yeah. I'd love to be reading
That's
this.
Robert's.
But I won't slaughter these poems, I promise you.
Robert's.
Mary should go at some point.
That's Robert's.
Oh dear.
I'm really
That's
hogging the
Robert's.
airways, yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, Susie, I'm sorry. That's all I was able to download from what you sent me in the files. I just don't.
What about the St. Agnes Eve? Didn't you get that one? Because I cut and paste that one onto your email.
Somehow I couldn't get it out.
Okay, sorry. I'll leave it then. All right.
Why don't you, well, we'll make an exception as before you, why don't you read your poem to us since you
All right, if you don't
grace
mind.
us with your presence, and we'll go on
All
from
right.
there. Thank you.
Well, this one's called St. Agnes Eve, which is, as you know, Keats wrote a poem called St. Agnes Eve, but this is my own version of it, you know, so St. Agnes Eve. What bliss as I freeze in time, a ghostly shape in my fetal bed, seduced by fingers of ice. The moon was harvested in space-time, lost forever my virginal state. Yet my heart burns through the cold. Is this real, or am I blinded by snow? Ice flowers on my window of dreams, etched on the glass like an offering, spellbound in an igloo of night. I sang as he caressed me in my bed, blissful moments in love with a white shark, drinking my virgin's blood in candle flames. I disdained to mention the pain I felt in the dark. My forebear warned me not to succumb. It's a racial memory as my nose touches the glass and pins stick in my arms, piercing the flesh. The polka dot moon in blood spot, eruptions, but her execution is blocked in time. I shiver and look in his luminous eyes. As I kiss the mirror, I see my fate, breathe on the glass to disguise. But too late, his face appears. His eyes engage me, and I long for a kiss, a ritualistic offering, a sacrifice. And I'll do one more show. I've got one called
Sure.
Skyberry, which
I think we're giving everyone a taste as to why I invited you to read with us tonight.
you.
So thank you.
that's nice of you. Thank you.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
This is called Sky Burial, which some of you will know about, but that's my chosen way to pass on a highway to the stars, pursued by eagles, jumped by mankind, en route to nowhere. There I find myself, buried under snow for 3 days. When I make my offering to nature, a kind of payback time for all she's endured, my body will be feather bedded before the great feast of my parts. Bears, leopards, and mountain lions can eat their fill in the green spring, as will the dakiris, the pole bearers. Angels sky dancing as I reincarnate, vultures coming into their own at last, after feasting on my earthly remains. Someone told me once how they saw an eagle flying above the thermals with a human hand in its beak. Whee, what a way to go. No mess, no residue, no fire, no ashes, no hole in the ground. The service will not be in Latin or ancient Greek. Maybe some Sanskrit, whispered my monks, will enter the hollow of my head to see me off. When I sacrifice myself, music will be playing above the spheres, above the universe as we know it. Never rue the day of my passing, my love. You'll always be there at my side, brave and resolute, constant as the tide. I'll be your bride once more.
Hmm.
Cute. So that's probably enough
Thank
now.
you.
Mark, may I prevail upon you to allow me to read Chagall?
Sure, we'll end with that. Sure, hold on a second.
Just one little thing to prove that I'm not completely dead in the head.
No, it's okay. I'll be right. Let me, I have to,
I feel
it'll
like
take me,
I
take me half a second to put it up. Hold on a
Yeah.
second.
before
Sure.
the crowd called in.
Okay.
Time of night.
Protesting, love, you're doing all right.
Protesting too much.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
I think it was the
Okay, I'm there now, and I'm getting back to your room. You're right there. Come on, move over. Go. You go. There you go. Can you see it okay?
I can, yeah. Now this is an ekphrastic poem, of course, based on one of Chagall's paintings, but also edged into a cathedral, not cathedral, a chapel that he made stained glass for in the south of France. Wonderful place. Now, okay, Chagall. The bride and violinist, the cow and moon. It's the gaps in the atomic structure. Einstein's paradigm, exoplanets spin within the nuclei of hydrogen ions. Stained glass windows of the chapel in the sunshine of the longshoreman's vision of heaven. The old lamplighter, remember the truth of the death camps. Walpurgis Nacht on the Brocken, 1938. Eclipse of the moon, the cow and violinist. Diamonds in the jewelry of the night sky. A satellite imagery. Iraqi warheads, Alpha to Omega Centauri. It's the inner sanctum. Returning to Jerusalem, to the catacomb. Thank you very much for your patience.
No, thank you for that poem, especially on Holocaust Memorial Week, to read that poem to us.
Indeed.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mark.
And for joining us.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, we move on to this amazing evening of poetry or daytime of poetry, depending on where you are. Our next poet is Beatriz Gartler. Hi, Beatriz. There you are. Beatriz is born in Argentina. She holds a PhD in English from the University of Illinois in Chicago and is taught at Northwestern University, Loyola University, Roosevelt University, University of Illinois, Columbia College. She has published extensively in Wherever I'm At, particularly an anthology of Chicago poets, which I was the reviewer for, actually. An anthology of Chicago poetry. She was selected of one of the 100 women who make the difference in Chicago today. Today's Women magazine. Her second full-length collection, Mapmaker Revisited, from the Gladstone Books. Her first novel, Old Gloves, 20th Century Saga. Her latest poetry collection, Unveiling the Mind, from Pandora Press. And welcome and thank you for joining us. I will share the screen for you. Sorry, this one here. Beatriz, I'm putting on the one where I put it all into one font, okay? I think you might be on mute.
I'm
Hello?
fine.
There you are.
Can
Okay,
you
I'll
hear me?
keep
Okay,
this, I'll use this one, okay?
sure.
There you go. Okay.
Where are you from? How to explain it to you who ignore elemental geography, for whom the world is one big blob outside of your own home? And what does it matter? Where are you from? Obelisk, pointing sharply to the southern sky on wide avenues flanked by jacaranda trees. Clusters of violet flowers tumble, a purple rainfall. Rio de la Plata, an optimist's dream of silver, where millions of broken yet hopeful came ashore in search of freedom and riches. Italy, Spain, Russia, Greece, Jews and Gentiles, one big multitude populating the wide streets, laboring for a new life, my parents among them. Where are you from? Airplanes flying high, disposed of snatched bodies, over wheat fields or rivers thick with bones and blood. Where are you from? I'm from the south, from the end of the world. Mother poems. 1. The last time I saw her, she was lying in a casket with hardly any wrinkles. Her skin smooth and pale. She always looked younger than her age. Hair still black and shiny at 92. Lips full, cheeks rosy. If her eyes had been open, the large black pupils would have astonished you. Always a beautiful woman, she delighted to say that she looked exactly like her mother. 2. When I look in the mirror, I see her. 3. In the old days, she used to say, parents were not like today. They didn't hug and kiss and cheer their children on. In this way, she explained the absence of affection, the presence of distance. She would say, don't cry, you make me cry. She would say, don't complain. She would say, why are you unhappy? You have everything. We didn't. We were like ostriches digging our heads in the sand, avoiding any unpleasantness. 4. I am 6 years old. The middle of the afternoon on a weekday. After school, after lunch, to bed, to nap. I can see her sitting by the window, looking at the sidewalk across the street. The winter air filled with cold and wind, the sky gray. I imagine she wonders why she's there. What she's doing so far from home. But it's too late now. Home is many thousands of miles away, and she has a husband and a child. I imagine she gazes at the house across the street, its gleaming white walls and iron wrought entrance. Perhaps one of the neighbors is walking home from the day's errand, saddled with shopping bags. The light in the room, pale and weak, and all I can see is her silhouette sitting by the window, framed by the white drapes, a glimpse of trees outside, the light blue walls. I imagine she can see the afternoon get dark. Days are shortening, light failing too soon, and all that is left is darkness and sadness, unimaginable sadness. 5. A few flower wreaths surround the casket, a framed photo, 6 or 7 chairs against the walls, and a curtain that separates our tiny room from the one next door. We saunter to the chapel for the blessing, to the graveyard for the burial. We must be finished in 30 minutes. Other dead are waiting. Little time for speeches or songs, much less for prolonged sorrow. Friends and relatives hug me, kiss me, offer me bottles of water. This is a simple funeral on a scorching afternoon in Athens. I don't cry. I can't cry. I am not allowed. Morning routine. I sleep. Chaka, chaka, chak, chak, chaka, chaka, chak, chak, lulled by the sounds of the L. People always ask me if the train bothers me. In the morning, I walk to the bus stop next to the playground. Toddlers stumble, get up, run, stumble again. Lesson number 1 in a long life to come, I hope. A man with a cart filled with the brim, rags, cardboard, plastic bags, cereal boxes. His entire life stares at me from across the aisle. He talks and receives answers from somewhere. My red shoes compete with blue shoes, with toes peeping out of sandals, leather loafers, and sneakers. Looking down feels safer sometimes. Mind's Eye Art Studio, where my mind's eye travels along colors and shapes and textures. Blue-green background, torn pictures of seascapes, vintage photos, newsprint, orange ink on black acrylic. My hand draws curlicues, circles, straight lines, the palimpsest of my life. Collages become witnesses for future generations. After tacos at Tony's, the L summons me again. These wretched pigeons, their feathers, their shit, always underfoot. Cool breeze on the platform blends with the smell of urine. Why do men do that?
For time's sake, I'll end on that one, but wow.
Thank you.
I think, well, for all of us, myself included, that whose mom passed away, she was well in her 90s. And when you look in the mirror, you see them. I know, yeah, it was very poignant.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for all that, Beatriz. Lovely. It's very pathetic.
Thank you.
Well, we have 3 more poets, and then we'll open up to a couple of people that, hi, Leslie. Welcome back, welcome in. We have Quasar, and then David, and then Leslie, and then anybody else who wants to read can read a couple of poems, and do also share them. The idea of this event is that everybody can share the poem if you can, on the screen. If you have problems with the share, you can send me an email or put it in the chat, and I can copy it and we can put it up. And next will be Quasar. Quasar, let me just get your poems together while I prepare the introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you. There you are. Okay. Got it. Zoom. To share screen. Okay. Well, let me. I got it now. Excuse me a second. So, Q.R. Quasar, also known as David Martin, is a poet, playwright, novelist, scholar, translator of Arabic and Persian poetry, philosophy, PhD, UCLA, poems, translations in everything. Poetry Magazine, Hawaii Review, Black Box, on and on. Among his 11 books are Buddha Time by Global Scholarly Pubs, Ocean Suns, Watching the Universe Die, A Rebirth, Persian Poetry of Farrukhzad. I love her, she's fabulous. The Expanse of Green, Persian Poetry of Sepehri, I'm pronouncing it improperly, I'm sure.
Sepehri, heavenly,
Yes.
Sepehri.
Yes. UNESCO Collection of Representative Words, Iranian Series Awards, First Prize Chicago Poetry Festival, Columbia University Translations Prize, International Scholar of the Year 1998, the Persian translations, TV and radio readings in Persian and English throughout the world, Europe, Asia, the USA, live readings in Iran, Russia, China, USA, and a founding member of the San Francisco Bay Area Poets Coalition, and doing a workshop in a couple of weeks, which I insist you all attend. You'll never be the same, on poetry of the miraculous quasar.
Thank you much. Okay, I'm just going to go into it. I've got 4 poems here. The first and the third and fourth are meditation poems and reintegration poems, and the second one is a bomb. I'm wrapping the bomb in with the meditation poems. So here we go. The first one is taken from the mantra of the first printed thing ever in China, the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, and Tathagata means you can't say whether he's gone beyond or not, of the Buddha. So Tathagata, Prajnaparamita Sutra, retake number 1. First line is Japanese, and the second line is Sanskrit, and I mix them up, and that's the mantra. Gyate, gyate, hanya gyate, soaka gyate, parasam gyate, 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 para gyate, parasam gyate, bodhisvaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, gone all the way gone way beyond gone beyond the beyond, gyate, gyate, hanya gyate, soaka gyate, parasam gyate. Still here in the mixed pixels of pain, but already gone and already back, all here in the clear, all here, the mixed pixels of pain dancing all the while. Gyate, gyate, para gyate, parasam gyate, bodhisvaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, gone all the way gone, and still going gone way beyond gone, and still going right here. All here. Gone beyond the beyond, and always arriving here. All here. All here. Gyate, gyate, hanya gyate, soaka gyate, parasam gyate. Gone beyond, gone beyond the beyond, but always arriving here, all here, all here. Gyate, gyate, para gyate, parasam gyate, bodhisvaha, bodhisvaha.
I like that.
Yeah, we can skip the coda. This coda places the poem in the universe. I'll just read. Let me do the last 4 lines of the coda. Last 4 lines of coda. Streaming towards the unknown, all in the web weave of galaxies, stretching in the all-where, coiled in the void nest here. Okay, Anthem for the Earth. Well, this is published in Watching the Universe Die, and this is a warning poem. It's in the British hunting song tradition. You may know this. How does it go? The deer she did cross the plain, the keeper fetched her back again, all for to shoot at a merry little doe among the leaves so green. Oh, Jackie boy master, sing you well, very well. Hey down, ho down, dearie, dare down, among the leaves so Greeno. Okay, that's the playful hunting song thing. This is not so playful. It starts in the middle of the hunt. Anthem for the earth. The earth is our nest on the road to extinction. Hunter is speaking. Sick 'em, we got 'em on the run. Sick 'em, sick 'em. You can almost hear the hunters cry on the dogs, the hunters that are we ourselves. We have met the prey face to face. It is we who are hounding. It is we who are driving the prey hurtling off the cliff, down, down, onto the bedrock bottom of the open pit of extinction. Splat. The prey begins to crumple. We see it in slow motion. We have met the prey face to face. It is we who are hounding ourselves. It is we who are driving ourselves, hurtling off the cliff. We see it in slow motion. Are hurtling off the cliff, down, down, onto the bedrock bottom of the open pit of extinction. We are digging our own pit into our nest. The earth, all earth. Earth is our nest. We are bleeding the earth, and the earth, all earth. Earth is our nest. The earth is bleeding black blood. The earth is bleeding brown, gray smoke smudge. We cannot staunch the flow from the earth, our blood, and the earth, all earth. Earth is our nest. Homo sapiens is sucking the blood of its own nest bed. Homo sapiens is defecating and urinating, dumping crushed bones and rancid flesh into the open pit of its own nest. And the earth, all earth, earth is our nest. Only dying species excrete in their nests. It is a sign of a dying species to dump its refuse, its own dung, into its nest, its own nest. We see it all in slow motion. The fall, the crumple, the writhing moan, wrestling in the nest as the nest falls apart, and the earth, all earth, earth is our nest. The earth is our arteries, our blood veins, our lymph flow, our gut. The earth is our nerve web. We feel pulsations in the air, rock and sea. We receive the buzz, the bees, the flowers, corn grasses, and trees. We love the whales, honey in our ears. We love the waves of fragrance, wafting and curling with soft edges in our nest. The earth, all earth, earth is our nest. As we learn to fly and leave our nest, we must bend down, scrape and clean our nest. Instead, we play with money in the muck. Instead, we suck off the nest of its blood, and the earth, all earth, earth is our nest. Homo sapiens species, we now catch ourselves as we fall into the open pit. Homo sapiens, let's catch our own dung before it falls to earth, our nest, our own nest, earth, all earth. Homo sapiens on the road to extinction. Let's turn the sign from go to stop and slow, so we can rest and grow, grow and rest in our nest, our own living nest, earth, all earth. Earth is our nest, and earth, all earth. Earth is our nest. You can skip that and go to the...
I was enjoying the political nature of the last poem, although it's not too specific as what we can do. The first poem, was that about afterlife? The first poem?
Okay, Mark, can we go back to that? I've got to, do we have time to do the last one at least?
Yeah, sure. This one, This one here?
Yeah, okay. Let me close out with this. This actually, you don't need to do it off this. Try to see if you can hear the sound in your head in this. And this goes back to, I think one of the previous readers wrote about the emptiness of the eye of the hurricane. This is another form of that same eye. I am the eye. I am the eye. I am the eye. I am the eye in my mind storm. I am the eye in my mind storm. I am the eye in my mind storm. And I see that all is still. And I see that all is still.
Very good. Well, that's very well written.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. And also thank you for the reading. I think the interest of how you read your poem, obviously, I don't think any of us would have read it in any way similar to that. So the personality of the poet comes through so much in the reading of the poem as we read along with the poem. I think it's just wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Enigmatic and mystical, and a lot to learn about that.
Let me just say something about the workshop coming up. I'm going to concentrate on what Buddhists call sudden enlightenment. And it goes back about 1600 years from Tao Shang in China, as versus the gradual enlightenment. And my position is that art, and especially poetry, can cause this mystical break, this sudden enlightenment. And I will try to demonstrate how that's done. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes. Sudden enlightenment is a good thing. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you, Quasar. Well, move on to David Everhart, who hails from Baltimore, Maryland, retired in 2010 from 33 years in the criminal injustice system. As a peach protester, he was incarcerated in Lewisburg Federal Prison for pouring blood on draft files in 1967 with Father Phil Berringen and others. He has published 3 books of poetry and a memoir, For All Saints, a protest primer. In 2020, he won the Enoch Pratt Library Award and Little Patsu Cent Review prizes for poetry. I'll put your poems on, David.
Are they on screen share?
I'm sorry?
Oh, good. Thank
There
you,
you go.
Mark.
Sure,
Mark,
we'll make it a little bigger for you. There you go.
you're a wonderful host. I know you don't like people talking about their poems, but to me, it gives context, and I won't even read this first part. I'll just start with the poems. For example, the first poem is a koan. An orange squeaks when you peel it. What rain means to a tiger. You said read them twice.
Yeah, they're micro poems like haiku. Read them twice.
I know, because I get tired of the longer stuff. I can't understand it. I'm 81, Mark. An orange squeaks when you peel it. I think this happened once. I shouldn't have said that. What rain means to a tiger. Or use the William Blake spelling, Tyger. All right, I'm going down. Can you scroll down a bit? Okay, hold on. I only want to do the best one. Poem found by the dish machine. Demand brand, halves Alberta, cling peaches. Then going down after Emily Dickinson. which he said, after great pain, a formal feeling comes, which is so fantastic. And I say, after great drink, a formal feeling comes. Yes, okay. Go further down. One-word poems. Tinge, yelp, delve, stoat. Two-word poems. Rampant lizards. I am of a Scottish background, so it tends to be Germanic. That's the sound of the words. All right, here's a poem in memory of the Zen master Peter Matheson. I dreamt last night of the snow leopard under the mountain wall in the cloud forest, just out of view. It was a ghostly apparition, and the hint of it was enough. There was no need for an actual sighting. It was scat, a koan, the sound of prayer flags snapping, of prayer wheels turning. It was a bamboo flute that smelled of lang lang, an African thumb piano, the effervescent present being enough. I took a long breath, deep breath, and tried to be mindful. And then the poem that comes after, Mark, you can tell me when to shut up. Oh, it's not far to our tomorrows, nor is it far to yesterday's, but it's the present that's so distant, and so sorrow lines the way. And one editor said, well, these poems are too different from each other. I'm not going to print this. A couple of short ones, Mark, and then you shut me off. I find poems. Mad Max Fury Road, a movie, had this line, and I call it, the title is The Green Place. It almost brings tears to my eyes. To the west, beyond the mountains. I guess we can stop there.
If you're comfortable,
I can go on, but I mean,
why don't you read one or two more? They're very
all right,
short.
One or
Yeah,
two more. Here's a good one. Go up.
There you go.
I do a lot of nature stuff, and there was a poem that a lot of National Geographic stuff. A poem after William Carlos Williams and Ron Paget, two great American poets. And this is all I saw on TV. A raven calls the wolverine to a moose corpse in the snow. And then here's a poem, go up a bit, one more bit, go down a bit. Oh, yeah, the movie Do the Right Thing. And people might say this is not a poem, but I think you saw this movie by Spike Lee. It just stuck in my mind. Yo, put some extra mozzarella on that shit. If you're ordering a pizza, thank you, Mark. You're a great host. Fantastic host.
Thank you, David. No reason to apologize. You have a unique way of expressing yourself, very unique. And I think that's part of the wonder of poetry, that there can be so many variations. Thank you, David. Our last poet, Leslie. There you are. Hi, Leslie. Leslie Constable is a US-UK citizen living in the UK, Mexico, and in Santa Fe. A life and long rock and roll hippie chick. She worked as a journalist, art critic, and university art gallery curator. She's also widely exhibited painter, Poems have been published in the US and the UK journals Anthology since 1999, and with a 2015 collection now available on Amazon. Leslie, what was your favorite?
I sent it to your chat, but I think I can do the share screen. I think I
Oh,
can
yeah,
manage-
sure.
Let's see if I can manage it. Tech isn't my strong point. Okay, sure. Can you see it on your?
I don't see it on the chat, no.
All right.
Oh, I see, now I do, yes, I see it, okay.
Okay, got it.
I think so.
Okay.
It's not, it's in a Word document that I can't. Could you do me a favor? We're gonna move on then to some other voices. Send it in the body of an email to me, and then we'll come right back to it if you'd be so
Okay, great.
kind.
Thank
Okay.
you, Michelle.
And for now, let me open up and for Leslie as a featured reader, but for those of us that are here that have not read and would like to contribute a little bit, yourself, Karen, or some people I haven't, Scott Norman, or any of the others out there, if you'd like to read, just raise your hand, and if you are familiar with the share screen, would be great as well. Larry, sure.
Sure, great. I'll share one.
Yeah, can you make yourself visible to us, if possible?
Well, I'd rather not be broadcast on YouTube.
Okay, then I'll have to stop the share. Hold on, please. I'll have to stop the recording.
Ground. I'll start again.
Please.
Dark night. This is the dark night, and you are sitting on the ground, neither hidden nor content. I knew to maintain the neutrality, or not. I knew to maintain. Should I write again about the birds, or sing with them for you? To not respond, but rather help with the uplift. So your spirit lifts you up and takes flight. To not respond to the truth withheld and deep about you, my love. A truth withheld and deep about us, or simply a truth that the rocks hold our story, the dirt our bones. Is this your lot in life, as is said, to be saddened and heavy every time the darkness comes at the end of the day, yet not to know that it is just simply night falling and day will rise again? A day which begins with sun and finishes with the moon, but yet only a time which passes. This, the long dream we are in, which holds us all until it lets us go. Then the second one, the sound of water resurrection. 1. The sound of water close range, cleaning something, is like a dog snarling. What ocean do I stand in front of now, regarding, with the clouds passing slowly overhead? It will be that there is an ocean. Odd, the light, 2 lights it's called, rather the balance of 2 half-lights, the dull sound of almost nothing at all. We can stay hopeful that it has to mean something, to demand it, make up stories, but it never does have to be anything than what it is in half-light. 2. An aging woman has her picture taken of self in a bikini. It will pass as youth in the photograph. Why? I don't want the pearl anymore or any adornment, she says, even if it is black and therefore cherished amongst the French. I prefer plain. Through the filter of sacred women, I strain off through nothing. No words, glib, sufficiently, that banter, the prattle strange, the wordless, even more plain and sweet. This thunder feels dangerous. I like it this way. Like me, no one knows where next the sound appears. The consequence of dirt, the ocean of sky. And then this one I hardly ever read. It was a You Are There type poem. I will not take a camera. 1. I like my eyes. I like how my eyes work upon entering rooms, rooms that are vast or small, rooms that are indifferent, the light full throttle, the light piercing my eyes, or the light that is hushed, reverent and gentle. It doesn't matter. I am given precious time. I ask for precious time. I have the precious time, the slow time of my senses. I give myself this time so my eyes adjust imperceptibly, moment by moment, and my heart beats more slowly, and I become part of the room. Through my eyes, I see everything, everything as it should be in space, swimming with my slow breath, keeping time with my heart, keeping time with the abundant trails of smells or whispers, points of light, reflected, circling slowly as my eyes work with great love and persistence, as it should be and as it is. The sounds I hear in my wrist humming with the thick bones at my waist, with its dense flesh, my ankles reminding me of how I walk or how I love to dance, the quiet gasps and sighs from my eyes coming to me, humming with the bone, the flesh, the small and personal songs sung to me in my dreams, and even now by all the people in all the rooms I walk through every night when my eyes close. Are my eyes telling me that I see? I will not take my camera. That quiet gasps and sighs in a room, whether mighty or humble, are my eyes telling me that I see. Echoes of other senses at play, influencing the pictures of my eyes take in, my eyes create. I will not take my camera. 2. Salgado, Wildelka, All Saints at the moment, because the camera was there, we accept as truth that cancels out the mystery of the eyes as a sensuous entity. War shots, pictures of you, pictures of Lily, of the baby firstborn, cancel out the memory of the church, the parochia of San Miguel, the wounded saint the nurses pray to, the smells of hot wax, of the lily in excess, the piss that darkly stains the parochia steps, the pictures cancel out the smell. I don't know. I don't know they are okay. Maybe echoes of other senses at play and influencing the pictures. Maybe not close cropped, perfect composition, a balance of contrast, line from volume that zeroes in constantly, zeroes in on perfection and edits out the rest that lies because my eyes don't really see that way. A falsification, only a falsification. The photograph is a standard we've been bullied into accepting as true about how the eye works. Where do these come from or belong, these images, separate from smell, from taste, from bitterness or perfume? Where do I go now? Everywhere, from anywhere, relaxed and paying attention. Where will I go? Anywhere and always, and travel and see only what my eyes see, and that will be enough. I will not take a camera. And I'll close with that. Thanks.
And a great way to close our Planet Poetry 28 with all these different styles. Very unique prose kind of style with commas and spaces and all kinds of other inventions that you're doing in your work. Very modern and also very good. Well, I guess I want to thank you all. Does anybody else want to read for themselves? Or then I think we'll close off the evening. And I just want to, once again, I'll stop the recording this time.